think. Okay, we are now on the air.
All right.
The National Weather Association is on the air.
Now, is my screen still presenting?
It is.
Okay. Well, this is what we were talking about to students, is that the field is oversaturated. Though John Knox, I listened to his Weather Brains presentation from the NWA meeting, and I guess he was saying that is looking better. So if you guys listen to him, and he talked about some statistics done out of Peachtree City, these are the statistics done out of Peachtree City. So you guys get a preview of it. But basically, if you're a bachelor's degree, if that's all you've got is your bachelor's degree, the chances of getting into the Weather Service are pretty low. And in general, the chances of getting an entry-level meteorologist position anywhere is really probably about less than 25%, because you're competing with master's candidates, military, private sector people, things like that. So we tell undergraduates that you're probably going to have to either go on to something bigger and better like grad school, the military, private sector, or leave the field for employment. There are plenty of people who have had to do that. But getting into the Weather Service with just a bachelor's degree, the chances are slim to none. And then what we did is we took a panel, the mass intern bid from 2014. There were over 1,000 applicants, and the panel itself, about 10% of those applicants consisted of about 140 to 150 students. And then there were 60 jobs that were actually open. So of those 150 or some odd, there were 59 or 60 that were actually selected. So what Laura, my coworker, and I did, we went through and we analyzed the people on the panel versus those 59 people that were selected. And so the gender distribution, looking at that, the mostly male, only 10% female, but of the selectees, you actually had a better chance of getting selected if you were a female, once you made it on the panel, of course. And the panel is just the computer generated. You get through the computer there. Education diversity of the panel versus the selectees, you can see that almost 50% only had a bachelor's degree, but of the ones that were actually selected, only 20% just had their bachelor's degrees. Most of them had at least some graduate school, but again, most of them had at least a master's degree. So you guys probably can't see that, but what we have down at the bottom is that more than 80% of the jobs went to applicants with some graduate level education. So then there's a lot of students that think, well, can I be competitive with just a bachelor's degree because I'm a really good student? So we analyzed the students who just had their bachelor's degrees and what kind of experience they had. Quite a bit had private sector, a lot had volunteer, or okay, you probably can't see some of that. The orange, 29% is volunteer. The yellow, 28% is private sector. The red at 11% is volunteer and private sector. That peach color, the 4% is military. The blue at 10% is a SCEP or Hollings position. The purple 7% is publications, and that highlighted gray area 12%, that's none, people who have no extra experience. And I don't even know, frankly, how they got on the panel if they had no extra experience, but that's neither here nor there. So if you go to the selectees, that 12% of none of them actually made it past the panel, but none of them were selected. So, but by and large, the vast majority of them, we're up to 47% now of the selectees had volunteer experience, and then 11% that had SCEP or Hollings, and 16% that had volunteer and private sector. So having some sort of volunteer experience was really the best way to ensure that you were selected. So again, 90% of those BS-only selectees had either some sort of government work program experience or a productive volunteer internship. So that's a key word there, is productive. Private sector career, and then the rest of them had either some sort of publications or were in the military. So, but we don't have to go through all the rest of it. It's just telling students. But I thought you guys would definitely be interested in those statistics. That's sort of what John was talking about, and we have more data than just this presentation. But this seems to really get people interested in how it all worked with, at least with that mass intern bid, and that was 2014.
And if you tune in on December 7th, Trish will be presenting this on Weather Brains now, because I think I just found my guest for December 7th.
I was going to make a presentation on Weather Brains.
Yeah, this is extremely helpful.
Yeah, it is. It's a really good presentation.
Now we're getting the Hall of Mirrors effect. It's pretty cool.
That's really interesting.
So you just
December
stop.
7th, the Peachtree City Integrated Warning Team meeting, so I probably could not make it. Sorry.
Well, we've got plenty of other dates in the future that are available, so just pick a date, Tricia.
There you go.
Well, I wrote a couple of comments in the chat over there. I thought that looked great, Tricia. It sounded great. You know, if we use earbuds and even if we get to an external mic, you know, from time to time, it'll even improve it further. So I thought it was excellent, guys. What did y'all think?
Yeah, same here. I thought it sounded good, looked good. I think this is a pretty viable option.
Okay.
Yeah, you could
Janice?
tell the slides responded very well as soon as we heard her click. The slide displayed, and it looks like it's working really well.
What about controlling people that are attending the webinar itself? Tim, any thoughts on that, or are we just going to open this up to the general public? You know, how do we want to control that?
You know, the way we run things is that, you know, you invite who you want to be in the Hangout, and then you open it up to the world via the YouTube or the Google Plus page. And that way
You have the decision whether to make this a public thing or a private thing, and I haven't ever made a private one, so I'm sure there's a way to invite people to that exclusively. Janice, anybody else on the committee, since I'm not privy to how we want to do this or I haven't thought about it, how do we want to proceed?
Well, I think it would be good to have at least some of these as a member benefit, but I'm not 100% certain of that. I think we just need to do some tests and see what benefits there are to opening it up. It might, you know, attract a few other members coming in as well. And there might be some topics that we want to keep closed in within members and others that we want to make public. I don't know. I'm guessing the main way you could keep it as a member only is only send it out through an email to the paid members through the portal. They could still share it, but I don't think that's a huge problem.
I think that's doable, Tim. Do you agree?
I do.
And Ken weighed in, said he's not sure that it's better than GoToMeeting. He's probably right. It probably is not quite as good, I would imagine. But like Dan said, it does seem to be a viable option.
The one advantage I will stick up for this is that it is archived automatically when we broadcast it on YouTube, and it's there forever.
Unless you want to delete it. Yeah, we would. This is tied to my YouTube channel today, which is not used for anything important. It would be easy to, you know, set up an NWA setup and go straight to the NWA YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think it's already tied together. I seem to remember the Google Plus and the YouTube have tied those together already.
Good.
So am I still the presenter?
Yeah, Trisha's.
I thought I turned you off, Tricia. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Now it's back to everybody talking. So you were tired of us all looking at you constantly.
Oh yeah, making faces at everything.
Somebody else talk.
I think one advantage of this over the GoToWebinar is the fact that you know, with GoToWebinar we only have 100 seats, and sometimes we've had trouble GoToMeeting versus GoToWebinar, but with GoToMeeting we have that echo audio sound when you get too many people on the GoToMeeting. I think the audio on this sounds a lot better than what we've had.
Well, this is certainly easy to do. There's no question about it. It's very simple. It's a little clunky when you first get going, but you know, once you get all the plugins and everything and permissions lined up, you know, it works pretty well.
Jonathan, can you talk now?
Oh,
I hope so.
There we go. Hey, Jonathan.
Yeah. How are you?
So this would, the rest of the people that aren't on the panel would watch it just like they watch Weather Brains?
Yes, they could watch from the Google Plus page. I guess, Tim, later from the YouTube. It doesn't appear on YouTube immediately. It takes several minutes for it to render.
Yeah.
So if you were going to watch it live, you would have to watch it from the Google Plus page. But
Well,
that's pretty easy.
There's a YouTube page that you can watch it live from as
Is
well.
there? Okay, good. That's good.
Yes.
That's excellent. It would be nice, and we can go back and watch the YouTube video to get a feel for how it looks, but in my experience, the YouTube video actually turns out looking better than looking at it live.
I agree.
Just it looks smoother for some reason. Well, good.
All right. Well, I guess we can just sort of, I don't know, we all think about it a little bit. I don't know if we can check with Dave, since he's our first webinar presenter, and ask him the preferred method of presenting. But beyond that, I guess this works really well. We could be flexible and do one versus the other. I don't want to confuse the members too much. I don't know if we should try to stick with one for initially and then maybe migrate, or I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, maybe select one and go with that while we play with the other one in the background, and we just got to find which one works best for the NWA and for what we're trying to do and for the membership as a whole. And it may be that it's too confusing for Hangouts and everyone's used to GoToMeeting, and I think we just need that kind of experiment, kind of live.
Which one has a longer-term viability in terms of using it as a platform, say over the next 2 to 3 years? I mean, GoToMeeting's been around for a while, and then also, my thought is that we're trying to attract young professionals into these type of webinars, and which platform resonates with them more? Would it be the Hangouts?
Well, I think in my experience, and from what I've read recently, I think we're safe that Hangouts is going to stick around. Google has a track record of just suddenly ending things like they did with the other, whatever that other ill-fated project was they started that actually sort of became this. I've read that they've got a lot of commitment to Hangouts because it has worked, and that tells me that there is some resonance with younger people. We're all comfortable with GoToMeeting. A lot of us use that Citrix product, but this seems to work pretty easily, and I think there's some viability in it because of that.
I see that Ken suggested that we start with Hangouts in December, and then January we try GoToMeeting, and then from there, I mean, we could do that as well.
I like that.
Or just again, ask Dave which one he prefers, and we'll start with that one, and then for the next month do something different.
It might be good to have some instructions written up for the people that are going to be on the panel for the Google Hangout, so that we have that to refer to in case we forget after a month. But we did the month before.
Hey, Janice, I'll do that. I need to do that for my my project at work. So
if you need any help with that, Jim, I'm glad to help. But you don't probably need my help for that.
I'll run it by you before I send it back.
Yeah, you do a Google Doc. I'll be glad to play with you on it.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Well, this has been fun, guys. Thank you for. I'm sorry for getting you the instructions at the last minute, but it's what it was.
That's a good test.
That's fine.
Good
Yeah.
test.
Good test.
Yeah, I think so. Good test.
All right, well, I'm going to stop the broadcast here.